Welcome to Wake Updates. This series brings you timely spiritual updates about the defining shift of our era, the Great Awakening. The Great Awakening is a massive elevation in consciousness and dimensional shift currently happening on planet Earth. Why? Because it's time. Wake Updates checks into what is happening on the 3D, 4D, and 5D realities to provide useful perspectives from these different but connected dimensions. We are all heading for 5D eventually, and we hope this helps you along the way. Let's up, and awaken together. Greetings, Awakeners. I'm Renata Maniaci.
And I'm Julia Malone.
And this is Wake Updates. Today we want to talk about neutrality, which is really hard to find, I feel like, right now.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. A lot of different opinions.
There's a lot of different things going on right now, and I feel like social media, especially things like Facebook and Twitter, have always been divisive and really good at dividing people. But the last couple of months, I think they've taken it to a new level. And I'm seeing friends who are close and families who are usually close, like...
People are getting really passionate right now. They're like, I believe in this, and I want you to believe in this too. And people are getting really excited.
And nothing's wrong with that. That's okay. But we want to talk about being neutral. I personally feel like my high self, when I tune into my high self, that is what my high self wants of me right now. And that's difficult sometimes because every other day I'm like, but they don't know that, blah, blah. And like, I want to share my view of where I'm at because I think it's right. And everyone else does too. And so that's been difficult for me, but we wanted to talk about this a little bit.
Yeah, staying centered. You know, there's been different times in my life where I polarized into one way or the other, and I've realized that at that point in time, that was a certain point of awareness that I was at, and now looking back at that point, I have a different view, slightly different than that point. So I was really like, wow, I really polarized in that moment. And, you know, it's a good thing to be able to stay in our center and be an observer and watch everything unfold and avoid jumping to one side or the other or becoming really attached to one thing or another playing out.
Which is really hard as humans. And I've been experiencing this as well, like especially these last several months, as different, especially 3D awakenings have been happening in my life over the course of this last year, 2020.
Yeah, I mean, we're hearing a lot of like, these people are evil, and these people are the heroes, and this and that, and we're, and
this is real, and this is fake, and this has been going on for a long time, and this is new, and all this.
And it's, you can adopt a perspective of just going, wow, this is interesting. And watch it like a movie, like watch it play out and allow things to unfold. Give it some time.
And allow people to be where they are. I think that's sometimes I have trouble with that because I might be in a certain way of thinking or believing or knowing right now.
It's a space-time continuum. Like everyone's at a different point in the journey. And so the information that they have is what's perfect for them at that moment. And it will be different for other people. So not everyone is supposed to come to certain realizations all at the same time. It's okay because we're all in this moving through and we're at different points.
Right, and this show is all about, looking through the different dimensions of the 3D, the 4D, the 5D, and where we are and have been and where we're going. So what I've really come to accept and understand is that on some level, on certain levels of consciousness, everybody is, in fact, right and having their own experience at that level of consciousness. Like where I was 6 months ago was absolutely perfect for me and where I needed to be in the understanding of what's going on in the world and what's going on in the universe right now. And as I evolve, my level of consciousness is raising and then truths become different. Not necessarily that the truths build on each other, okay? So Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. There really is no right or wrong. It's just information that's coming in, and if you have an intention to move in a certain direction, you can adopt the thinking of like, does this serve me? Does this bring me closer to where I'm heading or where I want to be, or does it not, and accept it or not, and allow that to guide you through discerning truth as it comes to you in your environment, and give it time to settle in and accept where other people are at and accept where you're at too, because sometimes you won't feel neutral. Sometimes you will feel polarized or really passionate and attached to a certain outcome, really wanting to happen and go in a certain way, and just bring yourself back into awareness and accept yourself too where you're at, and that's okay.
Yeah, and one thing I wanted to say off the back of that is that some of these awarenesses that are coming through are the polar opposite of maybe where you were a year ago or 2 years ago or 10 years ago or whatever, and that's okay too, because if you were in a certain place 2 years ago and you're having awarenesses now where things 2 years ago where you would have been like, no, this isn't true, blah, blah. And then now you're having awarenesses come in and it's like the complete flip. It doesn't mean that where you were 2 years ago was wrong.
No, it doesn't. And so, I call them yes, no's, or I've heard them be called yes, yes, no's, or no, no, yeses. Like sometimes you're moving in a certain direction. Like for example, for a period of time, it might be beneficial for you to be vegan. And for portion of your life, it may be beneficial for you not to be, and so you're coming in and out at your own individual journey. And so to judge somebody else about where they're at and what part of the process they're going through, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It happens, and it's part of this human experience, but with this awareness, we get to stay more neutral and allow things to play out, and sometimes things will be a yes and sometimes they'll be a no for you, and just listening to that inner guidance and what it's telling you.
Yeah, and like for me, where that's showing up in my life is like, who am I to know where I'm at in terms of awareness or wherever I think I'm at, and try to share that with everybody in the sense of like, this is it,
Yeah.
Who am I to do that? Because I'm getting in the way of somebody else's own evolution and somebody else's own process if they're not asking for that.
Yeah, and one person's medicine might be another person's poison in that moment, and vice versa. And actually, this came up the other day. Somebody had posted a question asking what they thought the best place would be to go for a certain thing. And I was like, I felt really excited to jump on and say, well, I had an experience at this place and I wouldn't go there. And I'm like, well, actually, what if for them, there's something there, and my opinion or my sharing my past experience might influence them in one way or another, and yet there might be some gift at that place for them. I don't know what their highest path is, and me sharing my past experiences or even my present experiences doesn't necessarily mean it's beneficial for somebody else.
Exactly. So let's tune into the dimensions right now and see if we get any information just about what's going on in the different dimensions today. And if anything comes in around neutrality, and specifically, let's look into that. So here we go for 3D. What are you feeling for 3D?
It's so, I'm not sure if it's because we're talking about neutrality, but I just feel super neutral. I'm not really getting much.
3D's turning into 4D. Yes! I kind of felt that too when I sank in. I was surprised because usually it's a very, like on these previous episodes, I'll like get a lump in my throat or something or feel very heavy.
I feel very calm and neutral.
I felt
that's
very,
what we're talking
yeah,
about.
We're talking about that. So what are you feeling?
What
That's,
are
you feeling in this moment? I was just going to add to that I felt calm for once in 3D.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can start pulling up 3D into higher dimensional experience.
Why not?
Yeah.
So I'm curious.
For us, that's what it is.
That's what it is.
We're
in
a really nice environment. We're in a really great place.
Yeah.
And
comment
good.
And tell us what you felt in that 3D moment.
Because
everyone's 3D moment is going to be maybe a little bit different, and that's perfect. So let's sink into 4D and see what that's like. Maybe it's the same. Maybe it's not.
Interesting.
What are you getting?
spiraling, a spiral, moving through the fourth dimension in a spiraling motion upward.
Yeah, I felt the upward movement for sure. That's that's the only thing that I was going to bring in, is that it kind of felt like this.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Yeah, that's what the feeling was in the body.
Okay. So let's go into 5D. 5D feels really calm to me today. You know, usually it's like, "Rah, yeah, this is great." And it's just like calm.
Yeah, calm, and that there's yeah, interesting. I don't know how to explain it. I'm trying to find words for it, but that there's a restructuring that's going on. That was what kind of came through. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us, and let us know what you are thinking about all of these dimensions. And we will be back with you next week
With more awake updates.
for sure.